Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And it's time to take a look at the new masked hero, Avatar of Moonlight. Normally, we get masked heroes every year during the half anniversaries. So we got our last masked hero for the 2.5 anniversary with Exalted Champions. So her coming out now, kinda wonky. And I think it makes it all the worse when she's not super useful on her team. But in order to find out just how yes or not good useful she is, that was really good English, by the way. Wow. We got a showcase for her. So she uses a sword just like the old light hero. So if you have one or someone else, there's a lot of light swords out there. Just give it to her. Divine General, Otherworld Legend, Heart of a Hero, and Goddess of Destiny. Otherworld Legend is the Vengeance team. Goddess of Destiny, she's... I guess she can work because she is light character, but that is not a Pierce-focused team. And then her ult is a support ult, so it has a terrible multiplier. That right now, with 0 dupes and 0 investment in her ability board, she only gets 25% weakness strike for Divine General characters, up to 50 if it's an EX ult. Her first skill is the Rewind ability, just like the old Masked Hero, but instead of giving Protection Gauge as the second half of the skill, it ult rushes you by 30%. And you can only use this skill once, so you're only ever going to get 30% extra ult gauge out of this skill. It is not applied to the orbs, it is just immediate. So you use it and boom, every character up front has 30% extra ult gauge, which is not a huge deal on her team. Her second skill is the gigantic 100% pierce power and guaranteed pierce rate that applies to everybody, just like how Diablo gives synergy and synergy power to everybody. This is now pierce. And her Valor trait seals body and spirit skills. Her actual trait, if you by some chance have dupes of her, gives you extra pierce power when you send 6 green orbs, which only applies to her, and she's not a DPS character, so confusing. Let's test her out. Alright, first off, we're going to go into Inferno 1 of the current beatdown battle using her team plus Overlord Shizu because she's our best option. She will hopefully be replaced by the 5th unit that comes out next week. But we've got Elmisia, the hero, Diablo, Gazel, Raphael. We're going to get a lot of pierce power, a lot of stacks. The Rewind ability enables us to get extra stacks with Raphael, which is good. And then her pierce power buff obviously is used on the nuke turn. We're not using it early. I guess you could if you wanted to like quadruple nuke or something, because everything would get reset and you'd have a lot of points, but that's not what we're wanting to do here. What I want to do between this run and the following clip is compare the support damage output and abilities of this masked hero versus the super old half anniversary, like OG 0.5 anniversary space masked hero, because they are very close to each other. They both have rewind abilities, and this hero has pierce, and this hero has crit. So I want to compare how much of a difference this premium new summonable hero is versus this old hero, who is skill fused. Keep that in mind. She is skill fused. Okay, we skipped ahead to turn 2 because turn 1 is just a single orb change and 1 stack of Raphael. We're going to speed this up a bit because this team takes fucking forever to run. And also, since we only have 1 single orb changer in this team, turn 2 is rough. So we're just going to have to, you're going to have to deal with voiceover. But still, I mean, the subject of the video is the same. Here's the masked hero, she's come in. You're really, for this run, like, I'm not trying to do the most damage possible, so I'm gonna hold on to all the Diablo and the hero ults. Like, I'm not gonna try and get a hero ult intentionally until it's inevitable. But ideally, you'd probably want to send a few Diablo ults to get that extra stack of weakness strike for Raphael on the final nuke turn. Not gonna do that here. So we're just going to simply orb change, ult swap, orb change, stack with Raphael, use the multi-skill, get stacks of Elmisia, and try and get to a solid number where we can efficiently nuke. So, turn 3, I mean, we're not going to do anything with the hero until turn 7, essentially. Because turn 7 is the best time to use the rewind ability in order to maximize your points, because turn 7 is right before the nuke turn. It's where you have the most points capable of spending before the nuke. And if for somehow you don't have an ult for everybody, then I guess the 30% ult rush will help there, but that's kind of unlikely considering that you're sending 6 orbs of greens that are buffed by Diablo. Almizia is constantly giving you 25% ult gauge every single turn past turn, 3? Or, well, actually past turn 2, because you apply Almizia turn 2, yeah. So, the hero is not a super huge factor in the everyday getting to turn 8 kind of team build. She's there for turn 7 and then to buff you on turn 8. And that's all she's doing. If you want to send ults with her, then yeah, so like we have an ult for her now on turn 5. We could just take Raphael ult out and then send all these ults, and then we can get, what, that would be 75% weakness strike for Raphael, because the EX ult for Diablo and the normal ult for the hero. You could do that. Not what we're going for here. I just want to see realistically how many stacks we can apply from Raphael before we get to the nuke turn. So this is turn 5. A lot of orb changing has to be done because unfortunately there's not a lot of turns where we get a lot of natural greens. This does give us a lot more skill points, and this new masked hero actually being on Divine General means that her orbs, if we send them, also give us the extra skill points, whereas the old masked hero does not. She's not on Divine General. Gazel only buffs Divine General orbs, so if you have like 4 old space masked hero orbs, they're not giving you skill points. They're going to give you the base value of greens as they exist and every day. But like Raphael's orbs are going to give you 80 skill points per green orb by the end of the fight. So here's turn 6. In order to make this work, we need to have a very specific lineup going into turn 7, and that requires the hero to be up front to use her rewind, and also Shizu to be up front to alt swap away. So we're going to use as many stacks as possible with Raphael here, and then we're going to move him out. And we're also probably going to move Diablo out of here for the hero and Shizu, so we can have that set up, because newer players, they're not going to understand the process of what I'm trying to do here, so I'm going to try and explain it as best I can when we get there. But you want to be sending full hands of greens to maximize points so you can reset, get maximum protection gauge of Almizia, and then you want to use the stacks of Raphael. So here on turn 6, we're going to think about it a little bit, and then we're going to bring in both the ladies in the back for Diablo and Raphael, because this will enable us to alt swap away into a full 6-hand send, get the skill points from some of the green orbs, not all of them, because 2 of them will be Shizu orbs, and then turn 7, we can immediately use the rewind. So okay, we actually swap Gazel and Diablo, not Raphael. Whatever. But this is the setup. We need the hero and Shizu up front. So now, on turn 7, we can rewind, boom, and then the hero can GTFO. We don't need her anymore for this turn. So in comes Diablo. We can use the alt swap here. Gazel, thankfully, doesn't have an alt, so now he comes out. And now what the rewind is going to do is it's going to give us an extra turn 7. It'll be turn 7.5, as we like to say. And because we've swapped the alts away, now we're guaranteed that this hand is full of Divine General orbs that are going to be super buffed up on skill points, going to give us a lot of protection gauge, and then when turn 7 rewinds back into its own, so turn 7.5, we don't have to worry about alt swapping because the alts won't be there, and we can just continue to use the orb change from Gazel to get more skill points, and more importantly, the stacks of Raphael. So here, we're going to reset. We're going to use Gazel twice, and then every other single point that we have available is going into Raphael to get as much synergy power and alt damage as possible out of whatever points we have left over. So boom, do it again. This team is so slow because you have to click and then activate, click and activate, click and activate just over and over and over again. So there, we didn't have enough to use another stack of Raph, so we used another stack of Gazel. So we're up to 24 stacks of Raphael. 240% synergy power, which is also 240% ult damage. But now, the rewind will kick in, and now we've got no ults, but we have 4 oranges, which is kind of unfortunate. I would have preferred to have less oranges than that. But now we just orb change again, and we continue to stack using all the points we made back on the previous unwinded turn, I guess is what we'll call that. And this is how you're going to optimize the use of both this hero and the old masked hero. They're going to do the same thing with very, very small differences. So continuing to stack with Raphael, boom. We've used all the points we can possibly do. And now turn 8's going to kick in. We're ready to nuke. We have the EX alt. We have enough points to full buff, which is great. 450, and then the trait kicks in and will be like 455 or something. Yeah, 455. So we're at 29 stacks. Okay, good to know. Let's bring Shizu in. Let's use her 80-point debuff, which is 100% weakness strike and 50% alt resistance down. And then we'll bring in the hero, and we'll use the 3 big-time buffs, Synergy, Pierce, and the space buff. We'll use Diablo's multi-use skill again. We'll use Almizia to reset Raphael one more time, and then we have an extra 100 points to get some stacks out of him. So we're going to get, 3 stacks? So the free one, the 20, and then the 40. And then we're going to have, 40 points left over, and we can't do anything. Okay, so here, we are ready to go. We have 320% alt damage, which means that we have 320% synergy power. We have 160% attack from using Almizia and stacking up with her. And then we have a whole bunch of traits and the Pierce Power, Weakness Strike, all the other big-time buffs that we've applied. So this is a very good scenario setup. This is going to be the raw damage of Raphael, and he does 108 million damage. That's a lot for most people. It's not a lot compared to some other teams that the Whales are using. They could do 180 million on a good run. So, this is good for everyone but the 1%, I guess, is how we'll classify that. So, now that we've used it, we've seen that we've gotten 32 stacks and 160% attack buff, and using the Pierce Power buff. Let's now flip over and see what the hero can give us in roughly as close of a same setup as we can possibly get. Okay, we are back on turn 8, as you can see, using the old hero. We are already at 33 stacks of Raphael. So we have actually one more stack of Raphael, and we actually have one more stack of Almizia. So we were previously at 160% attack, now we're at 175% attack. We had 32 stacks of Raphael versus this run we have 33, and you can see that because we have synergy power 330% right there. Why is that? Well, because the old space hero, let's go back, this space hero right here, her trait, because it is activated, because she's level 100 at least, is level 92, is protection gauge every 3 turns. The new masked hero does not have protection gauge anywhere in her kit. So we're already getting a bit more protection gauge from the hero, which allows us to build up more stacks of Almizia. Her rewind ability, let me try and pull it up actually, hold on. Let me show you the comparison. Okay, so here, make another move, increases all souls protection gauge increase by 20%. So the difference between this hero and the other hero is that the other hero rushes your ult by 30%, which we didn't really need in that last clip. They were already at EX ults, they were good to go. This one means that all of our green orbs we're sending on turn 7 during the rewind and the reset and the extra uses is giving us 20% extra protection gauge, which is more gauge towards using Almizia again. This is why we have one more stack of Almizia, because we are getting more protection gauge than what the new hero would give us, because we just don't have that ability with her. So let's kick back over to the run now. And the reason we have one additional stack of Raphael is because the old hero's buff is only 55 points instead of 90 points. So we have more available on the nuke turn to actually use maybe 1 or 2 more stacks of Raphael in an optimized setting. So not only is the old hero giving us extra protection gauge, her buff is also cheaper, allowing us to use more stacks of Raphael, which is a very important buff. So here we have guaranteed crits. The Space Master Hero is skill fused, so capped out, she can give guaranteed crits and 60% crit resistance down. Obviously, 6% crit resistance down is a lower number than 100% pierce power, but when you combine that with the extra stack of Elmesia and the one extra stack of Raphael, when we actually do nuke here in this upcoming little bout of time, the results are the same. 108 million. We did 108 million the last turn without one extra stack of Elmesia and Raphael, but with 100% pierce power versus this masked hero who enabled us to have one extra stack of Elmesia, one extra stack of Raphael, and a lower cost and a different buff, and we still equaled the damage. So if that's the case, why the only benefit to running the new masked hero would be another character who contributes skill points on her green orbs. But I mean, this number right here proves that we can just get around that. And if you understand the concept of what you're trying to do, then it doesn't really matter. You can use the old masked hero, and she'll do equal or maybe slightly less, depending on if you don't get that extra stack of damage. But I mean, 100 million damage is still enough to kill anything in the game. So that's already not great towards the new masked hero. Alright, even though her ult has a terrible multiplier, we're going to use her as an AoE DPS, quote-unquote. Old Tempered Edge versus Dark Shinsha, Shinsha and Xion, the Bride meta. We're going to put her on Exalted Champions because she is magic, and so she'll work fairly well here. We're going to pair her with her 2.5 anniversary self to steal orbs so we can guarantee her EX ult. And then we've brought the new Awakened Isis to give us that extra little kick of damage. So we're going to have the element buff from Velzard, the attack buff from Rimuru, the debuffs from Isis, and then her own 100% pierce power, which should be pretty impactful in a stage that wanted us to pierce. Well, I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. This is the first try. So, Isis, you can come out of here, and we will steal these 5 orbs into 6, and then we'll swap heroes, and we'll go ahead and send this. Yeah, we shouldn't kill her, because we're not getting any big damage buff from Velzard. We're not on Exalted Champions, and we're not fighting a wind enemy. So, alright, cool. She healed, gave herself some defense and guard. We still need to get her EX ult, which is very doable, though. We do have Rimuru being able to ult swap away. These 3 orbs are going to be perfect for us with the green buff. And we could very much rewind. It wouldn't get us the EX ult, but it would get us close, I guess. And so I guess we can use it for funsy onesie. So boom, yep, there's an immediate 30% for everyone. And then we'll use Velzard, give us the damage buff, and we have to pray that we don't kill here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. So now she has the EX ult. She's ready to go. We can apply the attack buff and then send her away to the back next turn. And then if we can cap out, we'll have enough points to use the big time pierce buff and then the debuff from Isis. So yeah, this will work out fine. So attack buff, boom. Perfect. And let's bring the old hero, sure. And then we'll take out Rimuru, because he's going to have the damage buff. Let's not give... we should have used this while the hero was in the back. Oh well, she only has 1 orb. Okay, and we'll bring you in, since you will no longer have type advantage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, perfect. Please don't kill. Alright, good. So 150 points. We're going to have 180 when the turn kicks over. So this is a good use of the rewind. I mean, did the alt rush help? Technically, yes. Did we really need the ult gauge? No. But did we need the protection gauge either from like the old hero? No, because we're still capped out on Velzard. Like, we got a double Velzard right here. We're fine. So let's bring the hero in for the hero, and then we can apply both of the buffs. So pierce buff, the magic resistance down, and the ult resistance down. And then we can also use the Drago buff from Isis, which comes with its own little 30% pierce power. That will get canceled out by the new heroes because it's a temporary buff and the heroes is higher. So we can see that it's going to be grayed out because 100% is higher than 30. The reason why we're at now 120 is the Drago effect, which enhances any buff placed on the hero or anybody by 20%. So 100% pierce power buff is now 120, a 30% pierce power buff is now 36, and the 50% element buff is now 60%. So that's what Drago does. I'm going to have a video going out later in the weekend or next week, doing damage buff comparisons. I know a lot of people have been asking about that, so I wanted to get that video out, but I have to record it still. So the hero is fully buffed up. She's ready to go. But her ult multiplier, you gotta remember, is terrible. So, will she be able to nuke? Yes, because the stage is very old. Will it be incredible damage? Details. Yeah. 200,000. Was she able to kill? Yes. Is that incredible damage? No. No. The hero is not here to be a big-time team-wiping damage dealer. She's here to support someone else who has that job. And she can certainly do that with 100% pierce power, but as you can see, even with some pretty decent buffs, I mean, that was 60% element buff, 60-something% attack, and 120 ult resistance down. Like, your multiplier, because it's so bad, means that your ult does not do damage at all. If we were to put antagonist Shinsha here, she would have hit like million plus. So, unfortunate. Alright, let's make her support New Year's Rimuru, who is already doing guaranteed crits, guaranteed synergy from Xion. So now let's give him the final buff, guaranteed pierce. We just kind of have to work around the 90-point cost of this skill on a burst team. Could be a little bit difficult. Alright, so let's take out Rimuru for Milim, and then we'll bring the hero in as well, since we've got turn 2 protection gauge underneath a lot of them. And we'll just send these oranges. We have to break the shield, not a big deal. It's going to help us not kill him very quickly. Oh, and the hero has 4 orbs. That's actually very good right there. So we're going to get 30 points for free. So, can we actually... no, not quite. Okay. No, let's just give him... we have 3 orbs for the hero. Let's not rewind now. Let's hold off on that. So we will give away the orbs to Rimuru, rainbow them. Boom, boom. Alright. So now we'll get a lot of protection gauge, a lot of points. The EX ult, Rimuru's ready to go. And then next turn we could rewind and send him away. And because the Pierce buff applies to the back line as well, we don't really need him up front for this. We just have to hopefully not kill Gazel. Hopefully not kill Gazel. Do we even use the rewind here? I think we kind of have to. No, we can't do that either. Okay. So you come in. Boom. We will use the Pierce buff. We'll use the rewind. So now Rimuru has 100% Pierce power. That's good. Now let's give everyone guaranteed crit, guaranteed synergy, and pray we don't kill. Okay, everyone being the physical characters. So we will definitely send Hero last, so we do the least amount of damage. Although she does have type advantage. Okay, that's not bad. She's not getting the extra damage buff from Xion. We just need to get enough points to where we can use the Rimuru buff, Milim buff, and Shinsha buff. It's early. We are not recording this the same day. Which we're going to need, so 80, 135 points. That's 90. And are we going to accidentally kill here? I think we might. Well, let's bring you in. Actually, let's do this. So let's do Xion again. And then we'll just take out Diablo for Shinsha, who's not going to have the crit and synergy now. And hopefully she doesn't kill. Okay, good. All right. We're looking good here. 33k. As long as he doesn't put up another shield. All right, we're good. We're peachy. We're good. All right. So Rimuru comes in for the hero. We're going to miss out probably on the crit nerf, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. So now we shall synergy power, ult resistance down, ult damage, physical crit. Or no, physical ult and crit damage, the attack and weakness strike buff, and yeah, we don't quite have enough to get the crit resistance. Not a big deal. We have guaranteed pierce, so we're going to do probably a butt ton of damage with this Rimuru now, because 80% there. Pierce rate, pierce power, synergy power, crit damage, crit rate, synergy rate, weakness strike, attack buff. Yeah, let's do this. 2.9 million damage in 4.5 turns, technically, because we had... Well, actually, yeah, because we had the rewind. I mean, that's good. Obviously, she's a good support character when you can make her work. So I don't want to, like, completely make this video bashing her, because she is fine. It's just that I think she's just a disappointing release for the 3rd anniversary with a kit that maybe I'm not thinking is worthy of the 3rd anniversary. Even though her Pierce power hits the backline just like Diablo, just like Raphael, Pierce is not as strong as Synergy. It's not going to be as strong as the crit damage that we're probably going to get next week. The Rewind skill is, I would say, worse than the old Masked Heroes skill, which is a huge disappointment considering the huge time gap in between the two. I think she'll be a good pickup in like 6 months from now when she's a side featured character on another banner, but you don't need her right now. Yeah, she'll help, but if we can prove that we've gotten equivalent damage from this masked hero, even though their kits are not exactly the same, I think that's really saying something. We didn't have anyone giving 100% synergy power just straight up to the front and back line. We didn't have anyone giving 120% dark and space attack. Pierce, like, we have Aqua who's doing 60%, we have Albus who's doing Pierce resistance down by 50. It's like, no, we don't have anyone strong as 100% Pierce power. But I don't think this team needed it, quite honestly. I understand why they gave it to her because of what Elmizi is doing, but I just know. It's going to be kind of weird ranking her, because she's probably going to be pretty high up, even though I don't feel that strongly about her. Oh well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So, yeah, the Masked Hero. She's a fine support unit. I don't think she's super great or necessary. I don't think she changes the world like I kind of wanted her to. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.